There we go. Okay, so the recording has started. Looks like we're going to have a small group, but that should be just fine for what we're going to look at today. Ally for Blackboard. Is anybody just quickly, anybody familiar with Ally at all? Anybody have any experience working with it? April does. That's good. I do a little bit as well. I don't know if you want to come on the mic or chat. I'm gonna take no response as a no, and kind of plug in through here. So yeah, Ally has been around for a bit, but it's new to us, very new. So what is Ally? Ally is a tool that we can use to help make our content more accessible. And we do that two ways. One is by providing alternative formats for the content that we add, and then the other is through an automated evaluation of our content and giving us an idea of how to improve it and where we can do better. So why did we choose Ally? And I found this quote on their website. Equity is not about disability or ability; it's about accessibility and inclusion for everyone. I think we're really quick to say that accessibility relates directly to disability. I know we've had instances where students have a need for more accessible content. I know April put in some manual work on making content accessible in a certain case, but I like this quote because it implies that making our content more accessible is just making it more available and to where everybody, with different learning styles and things like that can access content in a way that is meaningful to them. And again, I want to go back and talk about these two main functions of Ally. The first is to generate alternate formats. So yeah, we'll go through all of them and I'll show you what they can do. But there's everything from audio, from reading to a screen reader, immersive screen reader that is pretty unique. And then it also has reports that it'll generate also for the course, but also for individual files and assignments and things like that. It'll give us an accessibility score and ways that we can improve those items. And I will just say, I mean, since we've got a small group, if anybody has any questions as we're going along, feel free just to come on mic and just interrupt me and let me know. Otherwise, we'll have some time at the end for questions. So let me just briefly talk to you about some of these alternative formats that Ally can generate. There's two different types of PDFs. One is for a scanned PDF where it would recognize the characters and things like that. It's an OCR PDF. And then another is to generate a tagged PDF. I'll talk a little bit more about that, explain that in detail in a second here. And then it also generates an electronic braille file. As I mentioned, it can audio files, it can read the content to you. An immersive reader, I'll show you that in a second as well. And then also HTML content, so that students can see the content and have the ability to copy and paste, search, and change it as they need to, so they can make it more readable. An EPUB format, which is kind of unique, lets them make it as an ebook for easier mobile reading, and then also a Beeline reader that benefits speed readers and people that like to do that. So first off, yeah, this is just the general of what this looks like, where the alternative formats can be found. There is an A icon. You'll see this in your content as you're going through your courses, looking at them as you add content into your courses. Depending on what you're adding, it'll generate this this A, and you can click that. Students can click that. This is all student facing, I should mention, by the way, as well. So both you and the students will see this A. When you click that, it will give you a list of the available alternative formats for that particular content piece. So you might not get everything that I mentioned on the previous slide, but anything that is available, you will get, and you'll have the option to download that. So first off, let me talk about the PDF formats. Because like I mentioned, there's two types. One is the optical character recognition, and the other is the tagged PDF. So for the first type, for the OCR, that is when you have scanned a document and it's just a static image of words And as you probably know, and we've all seen PDFs like this before, where the text is there, you can read it on the screen, but you can't select it, you can't do anything like that with it. It's just an image of words. What this will do is generate a PDF of that scanned document with recognizable characters so that you can copy and paste those words, you can highlight things and stuff like that. And then the other type of PDF that it'll generate is a tagged PDF. We'll talk a little bit more about tagged PDFs later, but a tagged PDF is generated typically from a Word document or a maybe a PowerPoint, something like that. That it'll generate this PDF that has all of the tags that are kind of necessary for screen readers to interpret in a coherent way. Um, so that's another option. I'm sorry, do we have a question?
Jason, I have a question. My name is
Yeah,
Kevin.
sure. Hey,
Does the university supply Adobe Acrobat in a format that we can actually utilize?
no, unfortunately, no, we don't.
Okay. But all this is ingrained within Adobe's formats, right? For all their information sets.
Well, I mean, within Adobe stuff, yes, you can create these types of PDF files, but these two formats are generated through Ally, so that you don't have to go through Acrobat or anything like that. The tagged PDF is similar to when you save a Word document directly from Word to
Mhm.
a PDF. Um, and then the OCR just it scans the document for words and letters or characters it recognizes and generates a PDF with those characters in it.
And do you foresee a need for Acrobat?
Not necessarily. I know April and I would love to have it for design work, but yeah, I don't think that just from an instructor standpoint that Acrobat is going to be something that you would need to have.
Yeah, so well, is it okay if I jump in, Jason?
Absolutely. Please do.
I think I don't know. You could submit an OU help ticket. I have heard that there is an old version of Acrobat that IT has that they can install if you have a PC. I have a Mac, so I can't do that. But the worst thing they can tell you is no. I don't recommend getting the free trial of Acrobat. I did that and then failed to cancel it before they started charging me for it. Don't do that.
Yeah, I have Acrobat, so it's very, very handy.
But for this is the Ally software is actually generating the tag PDF for you.
I understand.
Now, if you do have a student who you know is using a screen reader and they need everything to be readable by the screen reader, it's probably best just to leave your content in a Word document format because um, the screen reader will be able to read that.
Good advice. Thank you.
And also, if you do leave it in a Word document and you put it into Blackboard, Ally will be able to generate these PDFs if they choose. If they want a tagged PDF of it, they can take that Word document and then generate that through Ally. Okay, I'm going to move on from the PDF. And actually, I am going to stop my share. I'm going to see if I can demo some of this in real time. Hopefully it will work. I have plenty of screenshots on my PowerPoint, if not, but I think should be able to do this. Okay. All right. Probably see my Zoom screen right now and my PowerPoint. Let me get over to Blackboard. Okay. Does everybody see my Blackboard screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I think I had on that slide was an EPUB. So let me just show you. I'm in the content for week 1 of this online course. I'm just using this as an example. You will see the Ally icon and other types of content as well. But let me just click this A and see what kind of alternative formats are available. So EPUB is actually the first one. So I'm just going to go through that. And that's a file that I'm going to download. So I just select it, download, and I get a file. I'm going to open that file, and you might notice this might look familiar when I do open it. It opens it or it imports it into my VitalSource bookshelf. And that's because that's my default app for reading ebooks. So it basically converts this into an ebook type of format that students would be able to download and have within their bookshelf right along with their e-textbooks. So if I go back to my library, you can see that's the content generated by Ally that now lives in with all the other ebooks that I have in VitalSource. Back out of this. And I'm just going to refer back to my PowerPoint and keep this in sequence. Okay, so HTML. I mentioned this before as something that students might want to have this HTML format. I don't believe it's available here. Let me switch over and see if I've got a Word document. I think I can do it with this. Well, of course, it's going to lag here. Oh, best laid plans, I guess. I'll just go back to my PowerPoint and show you what that looks like. So this is a PowerPoint file. So let me show you. Let's see if we can find this. So there's a PowerPoint right there. I'm gonna click that. April, have you seen this before? Do you know why it would lag like this?
I think they said that it might lag sometimes on content you haven't downloaded before.
Okay. So it's just thinking about it. It might take it a second. And obviously with the PowerPoint, that file format is large, so that might be part of it. But I did do some of this ahead of time. So let me just show you what that would look like in my PowerPoint slide with this screenshot. So this is a PowerPoint that's been converted to HTML. It's taken the information on the slides. You can see there's slide numbers and things like that there that have been added into this HTML format so that students can really just look at it. It's a scrollable document that students would be able to look at the slides that way. I'll mention as a caveat that some of the images that are in this HTML document and on the PowerPoint are static images of graphs. So those are not technically accessible. But in terms of just generating an alternate format for a student who may not want to sit through a PowerPoint slider, might want something that is in HTML that's just easily searchable and scrollable, they would have that option there as well.
Jason, why would you want to do this?
I think it's well, April mentioned it's in the chat. It's good for mobile devices. So if a student's trying to view, like maybe they're on their phone, they want to look at some content, and they don't have the option to look at the PowerPoint, or the PowerPoint's too cumbersome for mobile, that they could just do this and just open it up in a browser. As you can see, this is open. That is opened in Firefox. So you're able just to open that in your web browser rather than having to open it in PowerPoint or anything like that. April, is there anything else? Did I miss anything on why
I don't know why else they would want an HTML document other than,
I mean, it's not addressable. They can't take notes into it or anything like that, right?
no, but if they're on their phone and they don't have like the PowerPoint app, then this would be a way that they could view that PowerPoint without downloading an app.
Yeah.
But I mean, every student I have they're on a computer, right, to learn? Or maybe
Not
someone on the phone.
necessarily. We have a lot of students who use mobile devices. Now,
Okay.
they may have access to a computer, but that doesn't mean that that's how they're accessing the content.
Yeah. Tough way to
Yeah,
get
we may have
homework.
students that are using their mobile devices just kind of on the fly. Like if they're in a waiting room or something like that and they want to do a little studying or reading while they're there, this might be an option. Right. See, it's still thinking about it. So apparently I picked the wrong file for that. Let me just go through the next one. So let's talk about Braille for a second. I'm not going to show you this just because I don't have a Braille reader app on my machine here, but when you go through and you do the Braille, so if I just click that, there is electronic Braille as an option. So it generates a BRF file, which stands for Braille reader file, I think. Is that, am I getting that right? I think it's on my slide. Braille ready file. Yeah. So that can be used if a student has an app that reads an electronic Braille file and knows what to do with that. I would assume generally if a student has a need for the Braille file, they already kind of know what to do with it. And the positive of this is we're giving them the options to have those Braille files.
So just for curiosity,
Yeah.
either one of you, does that then convert it to a hearing file? Is that what it does?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not super familiar, and I don't, April, if you know more about Braille files, that
There,
it will generate something that can be turned into a Braille document, I believe.
there are keyboard devices that can basically read documents for students, and they can I don't know how they work. I haven't actually seen one up close, but I've heard about them. But basically, that device has the ability to create the braille that's in the document, and then the student can read it from their device.
April, does
So
that apply also to graphics? Just curiosity.
it wouldn't, yeah, it would not allow them to see graphics. If the graphics have alternative text added in the document,
Mhm.
is a best practice, then they would be able to read the description of the graphic.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good point, and we'll talk a little bit more about alternative text here in a minute. Yeah, and Duxbury, I just wanted to mention that that was the app that came up the most when I did a little bit of Googling on it. That's what would read that file. So, yeah, interesting stuff. And I'm sorry, I don't know more about it. But to your point earlier about reading it to the audio is another alternate format that Ally can generate. And let me just demonstrate that for you here. So again, clicking the A. Now it's going to take a second. Got it. Try a different document. Give me 1 second here.
I will, in defense of the loading, it is generating these on demand. So it doesn't like pre-create these files, I don't think. Or maybe it does, but there's some sort of processing that has to happen the first time you download something. So if you have students that are complaining about it taking a little bit of time, just tell them to be patient.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, screen sharing and being in Zoom isn't helping bandwidth issues at all and either. But yeah, okay. So this one worked. So audio, it's going to generate an MP3, and all you do is click that, click download, and it will save the file. I've got it right here. I should be able to hear this. I'm going to play it really quick and show you what that sounds like.
Begin paragraph text. Economies in Europe and North America had nearly fully acclimated to industrialization by the end of the 1800s, while the rest of the world was still primarily agrarian. For industrialized economies, natural resources were the fuel for their economic
Okay, so you can get an idea of what that's like. I mean, obviously it's a machine read text, but for students who like to maybe multitask or have something read to them like that, this would be a very valuable thing. Or also, visually impaired students might want to have it as an audio file.
And
Yeah,
mobile, it's very nice, very, very good information. So
yeah,
thank you.
that's a really good feature. I'm pretty excited about that one. And I think that's going to lead us into the next, which is the immersive reader. This one is probably my favorite of all of the formats. It's really, really unique. So I'm gonna see if we can get this to generate in real time here. Okay, so I'm gonna download that, and this is actually gonna open within the same window. So you can see there that it's got the text that we were looking at, and then there's a play option here, so I can have it read to me in this very visual way. I can also change the text, the size, and grammar. There's a lot of different options for how that is presented. I'm just going to.
Economies in Europe and North America had nearly fully acclimated to industrialization by the end of the
And then you've got the option here. You can, with the voice, you can speed it
Mhm.
up, you can slow it down, you can change the voice from male to female. So,
of the 1800s, while the rest of the world was still primarily agrarian. For industrialized economy,
and I mean, again, it's also a machine voice, but it does sound, I think, a little more like human than the audio file that's generated. But yeah, you're able to scroll through everything and again, change the text size depending on what you want it to look like, font, reduce, increase spacing, has different themes. So yeah, this one really kind of changes the way that that content can be interpreted.
I'm doing a Zoom thing, so Carolyn is kind of in charge here.
I didn't quite catch that. Do you have a question?
I think maybe he's just not muted.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep going. But yeah, again, anyone just feel free to jump in when you have a question. Let me see what the next format is again. Okay, the Beeline reader. This one's pretty interesting. We'll take a look at that in real time.
Sorry, I have a quick question.
Oh yeah, yeah, sure.
How do we, I missed the very first minutes. How do we access this Ally app so that we get all these cool things?
It is all in your course already. When you add any content, or if you're working in an online course that already has content in it, you will see this A icon.
You're right. I saw that. Yep.
Yeah. So
So
when you
that's
see that in your course, that's how you get it to generate and start working with these alternate formats. That goes for you and your students as well. So this is a student facing component as well.
so I'm new faculty. So if I'm starting a or doing a course or doing lecture or whatever, how do I make that as part of, let's say, my PowerPoint or something like that?
When you upload your PowerPoint file, add your PowerPoint file to your course content, it will automatically append that Ally piece to it.
Oh, so it's easy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to do anything complicated to make this happen. This is kind of at this point baked in. It's a new tool to us, but it's all integrated and functions with the content that you're going to upload into your
So
class.
you're just showing us what we're getting. So that's great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So now let's look at that Beeline reader. Click on alternate formats, Beeline reader, download, and this generates an HTML file. So I'm going to open that. Should open a new tab here. And this is a thing. This is kind of new to me. I guess I'm not too familiar with speed reading, but apparently this the changing of font colors is something that's related to speed reading, and people who are adept at that use this to process that information. But as you can see, it makes it a little colorful, but you can also change the themes here with this Beeline reader in terms of what the display looks like. Again, just another option also just for visualizing and reading this material. Yeah, that one I thought was pretty interesting. And then again, this one just is an HTML file open in a new tab. I close that and go back
I
to.
can see that helping people with tracking issues, like if they have issues staying on one line as they're reading, that might help with that
Yeah,
too.
yeah, absolutely. Even I never even thought about that. That's a good point, April. Like just people who maybe have like low attention spans during their reading and stuff like that. I know I struggle with that sometimes. I can see that being very, very useful. Let me double check and see. I think that okay, this one's kind of exciting, the translated version. So if I want to read this in another language, I can hit that and ask for a translated version. Now, when I do that, it's going to give me a drop-down menu to pick a language. And we have many choices, as you can see. I'm just going to grab one unless anybody has a suggestion, something they'd like to see. Once, twice. All
Is
right,
this under Beeline? I'm sorry.
Oh no, this is the translated version.
Okay, so that's just another format. Okay.
Yep. So we're downloading the translated version. I selected French, so I'm going to click download. And again, just like the Beeline reader, it generates this HTML file that we would just click and open. And as you can see, my French isn't great, but you can see that it's translated this so you can read it in a different language. Even now, the videos and things like that that have been embedded won't be translated. They'll all stay the way they are just because they're going out to another website and embedded that way. But everything else is translated to another language.
Will the professor have to teach the students how to use this app?
No. I mean, you can certainly point it out if you'd like. April, do you know what we've done in terms of informing students of this at this point? I mean, it's still so new that I feel like it's probably not widely known yet.
I don't know for sure, but I think we'll put something in the Blackboard, the OU hub in Blackboard, telling students about it. If they have questions, they can obviously submit a help ticket and we'd be happy to help them with it. Or but it's fairly, as long as they know what they're looking for the icons, then it's pretty intuitive to be able to pick what format you want and download it. So yeah, I would say if if you're teaching a face-to-face class or an online class and you want to point it out in an announcement or on the first day of class, just that this is a new tool that provides them some variety of the ways that they can engage with the content in their course, then they should be able to figure it out I mean, as you see, it's pretty simple.
I would for sure think any student having accommodations would need to know about this.
Yeah, and we've been working with the disability services when we were evaluating this tool, so they're aware of it. I'm sure that they will be communicating with those students that this is a tool that's available to them. But if you have a student that asks you, you can definitely point it out as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and I mean, in general, I think we're just kind of, because it is so new, it's kind of a time of exploration here with this that I'm curious even to hear how students are using. They're probably going to use it in ways that we're not necessarily envisioning at this point. But once they kind of realize it's there and start exploring with it, I think it's gonna change things for a lot of students.
I know when I was taking classes on top of working, I would use the e-reading option in like Vital Source. So I think the flexibility of how to engage with the content is a huge benefit for everybody.
Well, this I'm not, again, I'm new faculty, but I understand a lot of textbooks are have audio capability. Is this in any way related to the Ally?
It's the same principle, I would say. It's not really the same product, I guess. Ally is something that can be used in conjunction with other websites. It's not Blackboard exclusive, but a lot of like Vital Source has their own baked-in text reader, and sometimes have their built-in readers that are separate from Ally, but it's again the same principle.
Yeah, so that would come through the text and not through this app.
Yeah, it won't
Right.
offer alternative formats for ebooks or things like that.
Okay.
Okay, I think that might be the end of the alternative formats. Yeah, so we're going to move on and talk about some of the instructor tools and reports. But before that, I just want to stress that the alternative formats are dependent on the type of content. So everything that we showed, that might not necessarily be available for anything that you upload. But feel free to explore and see what is available to kind of give you an idea of what the possibilities are with that content. So the next component of Ally is the scores, the reporting, and then it will guide you through kind of ways to improve your accessibility and fix some of the stuff that might not be as good as it could be. So the one thing is this course accessibility report. You can look at the course as a whole, and it is available in your course tools. Let me just show you here. And this is an undergrad original course under course tools, and it's right there. It's the first thing, accessibility report, LTI 1.3. You will see the same thing in graduate ultra courses under the books and tools area. It's just accessibility report, LTI 1.3. That just refers to the integration that we use to display that. but I will just defer to my screenshots here. It's just a general report that shows you what percentage it rates a score. And then there is a list of the different types of documents and what is wrong with them. And you can click on any of these items and then go directly to those documents and see specifics about those. And it's the same thing as this inline stuff, and you've probably seen this. Here, I'm just going to go back to the spot in the course. You've seen this item here where it's a meter, and this will be red, yellow, or green depending on the level of the score. So with this image, for example, it's saying that the score is low. So I can click this, and again, this is just for instructors. This is not a student-facing tool like the alternative formats. So I can click this, and it's going to go in and show me this image and tell me why the score is so low. And it's going to say that the image is missing a description. And this is that alternate text that April was talking about, that would work with a screen reader or something to that effect. So you've got options here. It's gonna give you some tips on how to write a good description, what it means, or you can mark the image as decorative, which means that a screen reader would just bypass it and know that it's not meant to offer anything other than just a visual thing. But you can also fix it from here, and we will go ahead and fix this in real time, just so I can demonstrate how it works. Let me back out of it for 1 second, because I've designed this course, so I'm guilty of that being low, but I have a little bit of a description right here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this much of it. I'm going to leave that URL off and click that. So now I have a description, so I can paste that in there and click add, and that's going to add that description there. And now my score is back to 100%. So that is one way to fix something I'm going to show you. I think I've got a Word document loaded up here somewhere. Nope. Got it anyway. Log back in. All right, give me just a second. I'm going to bring this course back up. Okay, so this course has a Word document right here. It's a glossary. Actually, this is a PDF, I think, but it's from the publisher. It's just a dictionary, a glossary of terms that are relative to this course. And you see there's alternative formats available, but I'm going to click on this score and see why it's so low. And what it's going to tell me is that it's untagged. The PDF is untagged. So it is not optimized for any kind of screen reading or interpretation along those lines. And then it's going to guide me through and say how to tag a PDF. Okay, so what can we do? And it's going to ask me, can I get a hold of an editable version of this file? In this case, I can't, because this is a publisher PDF. But if it was a Word document that you had converted into a PowerPoint, and you have the original and you can create a tagged version of it, it's going to guide you through that process. Here I'm going to say no, and then again it's going to ask if there's any kind of a reference that you can provide, so it can go out and search and see if there's a better version online. But in this case, it's not possible to tag, so it's going to say that its accessibility is going to be low because of that. And that is also going to affect some of the abilities for alternate formats. So if I were to generate, like, maybe say an HTML version of this, or even using the immersive screen reader, the text is going to be a little garbled and jumbled because it's not tagged. But you can see that there is an option to fix that if you wanted to. And you can play around with this as you upload things. Let's see, this is a PowerPoint, I think. So the presentation contains images without description. Maybe that's a problem, maybe it isn't. That probably is graphs and things like that have been uploaded into this PowerPoint file. But again, I would say if you're seeing this in content that you're adding to course, feel free to go in, try and fix it as much as you want. And if there is anything, if like, let's say you're teaching in an online course or something like that, and you see anything that is anything that's got a low score, like that image, and you fixed it in your course, let us know, put in a help desk ticket. So then that way we can go back and we can fix it in our master course and it's fixed over time. We are obviously, because this is new, we are going to go through and use these scores to improve our courses as we can. But anything that you're catching along the way and fixing in your course, let us know so we can also fix it in our master courses as well. And I think there was one other thing I wanted to point out here. So there is something like, I'm sorry, was there a question? Did I miss something? Okay. I'll just keep going here. So for this file, it's not tagged. Let's say the alternative formats aren't that great because of it. I can go in and click this, and then I can disable alternative formats for that particular file. So if there's something that you know is just going to cause more confusion if students do an alternative format, you can turn it off for a particular file as well.
I think they said, Jason, and maybe I'm wrong, but that even if you have an untagged PDF, the alternative formats are actually going to improve the accessibility, even if it's not great to begin with.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what that means, but
well, we can give it a shot here. I think I tried this. Let's try the HTML, see if maybe that does something.
well, the problem with untagged PDFs is basically it doesn't know what's a heading and what's not.
Yeah, so this, which you can see, I think it was just a list of terms and definitions and columns. So it looks like, yeah, this is the one. It came out really jumbled.
I put this in the chat, but this is another option too, is a lot of PDFs, if they're not copied, like if they're not, I don't know what the word is. If they're just a scan, then it's not going to do this, but you could open it up in Word, you could download it and edit in Word, and you might be able to fix it enough that it would be better.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you have that Word document, I mean, you can create a tagged PDF from that, but you can also with the alternative formats, you can put the Word document directly in there and students can make their own tagged PDF as well. Yeah, so this is a little off, but I think if we can click it, yeah, because the file is supposed to look like this. So I guess something with these line breaks is causing some problems with how that would be interpreted. Maybe this is probably a worst case scenario. Hopefully you won't run into anything like this, but yeah, just to go back on that, I would say stick to Word documents or working from a Word document into a PDF as you're uploading the files into your
Jason,
course.
just a quick question.
Yeah.
As your integration happens to the students, is this format going to transfer into their own private Blackboard accessory, or they change things and then that becomes customized for them?
It's nothing is going to like change permanently. So if I'm generating an alternative format, it's a download.
Okay.
Like these files here are just HTML files downloaded on my machine. This is not something that's on the web. It's reading it. You can kind of see the address is my personal computer. The one thing though, I think April mentioned this as well with those formats, is if you've generated something before from a file, it's going to remember that you've done that and it's going to open quicker than what it did for some of those. But no, in terms of they're not altering their experience within this kind of core Blackboard course itself. They're just creating offshoots for themselves, if that makes sense.
The reason I was asking that is because could it be used as a loop back for their evaluation of what they're seeing as how it integrates to what they learn? Is it a function of AI? Is that what your idea here is?
As far as I know, I mean, I think Ally does rely on AI, obviously, to generate some of the the audio and the text and things like that, and to interpret what the characters are. But yeah, I don't think that like gosh, if there is like this has statistics tracking to gauge if a student has opened a file or not. I'm not sure if generating an alternative format would satisfy that need. That shouldn't be common in too many courses, but I don't know, April, if you know anything about that. Again, this is probably that territory where this is something new to us and we haven't seen everything about it yet.
I'm not sure I understood the question.
Well,
So, good.
oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Good, yes, that's okay. My question regarding it is it can be used as a alternative tool so you can see what the integration is to the student learning. If it effectuates their learning, and then how the efficiency is as far as precision and accuracy with information set. Is it a better learning tool than what they first get addressed on Blackboard with what we present to them, whether it's in a PowerPoint or Word or whatever the documentation is, that integration helps with them? And are you tracking that integration to see, okay, is it being assessed for the actual faculty?
There are ways we can see how many, like what types of files students are downloading. But in terms of for each individual course, unless you give your students a survey or something like that and ask them what they thought about it, we don't have a way to, there's not like a baked in assessment tool in terms of that. But you certainly could give your students a survey, or even in the course, well, I don't know if the campus courses use the campus labs IDA survey, but online instructors, you can add custom questions. So if you wanted to add a custom question about the alternative formats and see what they thought, you could do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, and then what I was saying, I guess we'll find out. I don't quite know about the stats tracking, but yeah, there is nothing that ties back to anything. So once a student's generated and downloaded that file, we don't really have any record of how they're interacting with that file. So if they've downloaded the immersive reader, we're not going to know all of their interactions within that alternative format. I think that takes me to the end of everything. So if there are any more questions, we're right at about time, but I'm happy to hang out if there are any questions. I know April has another session coming up. If you're teaching a graduate course, April is doing a session on Turnitin, the new plagiarism tool that is in use in grad courses. So that would be a good session to go to. But yeah, I'm happy to hang out and answer any more questions about this.
Kind of where I was leading with this was, with exams and with quizzes, and how does it help students as far as their learning and that they're understanding the questions or solving the problems, whatever. I'm in physical science, chemistry, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah, it won't generate alternative formats for your tests. Like your students aren't going to be able to download the test in an alternative format. So if that's a concern, don't worry about that. But yeah, I mean, I think you would have to solicit feedback to see if your students felt like it was helping them. If that makes sense.
Hey, I'm Rita here. I joined a little late, but I have a quick question. Are we not preferring having tests on Blackboard? I use the quizzes, I put them on Blackboard, and I use everything that's out there with Shuffle and all, and the auto check and all. So are we like going to use that, or do we not want the students to go through that and just download the test and do that?
No, I wouldn't say that that's a means to discourage you from building a test directly into Blackboard if that's what you want to do. I mean, obviously, if you were to say give them, an essay exam that has the questions written in a Word document, in that case, they would be able to take that Word document and those questions and look at them in an alternative format. But if you're talking about just using like the test banks and building questions, multiple choice
Yes.
questions, Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, no, that stuff is not going to, they're not able to generate anything that's an alternative format from that. But do not let that discourage you from going that route if that's what you want to do. If a student has
Yeah, okay.
an accessibility need for something like that that would, prohibit them from taking a quiz that way, we have means to sort that out. Yeah, so don't let it discourage you. Don't not do that because you don't have Ally available for those.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you said, April, that you're going to be doing another session with regards to the lockdown browsers and stuff for tests. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's for Turnitin's,
Oh, yeah.
plagiarism, similarity detection. So it's basically replacing Safe Assign in graduate level courses.
I've used Turnitin before, so yeah, I understand. The borderline is difficult between AI and use.
I had a quick question about where to go to get a tutorial on Blackboard, all how to use it and all that kind of stuff. What do you suggest for that?
Well, we have a lot of help files. I would say if you go to the IDAT website, and let me grab that URL. And actually, I guess I'm sharing my entire screen so I can show you. Hopefully it shows up correctly. It's idat.ottawa.edu.
Sorry, I put my session info in the chat if anyone's interested.
And so if you go to this site, obviously you can open a ticket through here, but there's a lot of different FAQs. First one is where to learn more about Blackboard. And there's a lot of links out to just the Blackboard side. Blackboard itself has a lot of really great help information and like I'm going through that right here. In fact, I'll throw this in the chat so you can take a look. And
Robert, what campus are you at?
Overland Park.
Oh, okay. You could, if I would say there's a lot of self-help stuff, but if you want just a Zoom meeting tutorial, like you could probably submit a ticket and then Jason or I or somebody else in our team would be happy to meet with you on Zoom and walk through. I'm located in Overland Park, so if you wanted a face-to-face sort of thing, you could submit a ticket and say, I want to meet with April. And we could walk through it a little bit and get you comfortable.
Oh, thanks. I'm actually not going to start the actual teaching for a while. I'm a new faculty in the PA program. So we are just doing syllabi, course descriptions, objectives, all that kind of stuff right now. But we don't have actual students yet. So I don't know whether I should wait to do this tutorial so it'll be fresh. I mean, I don't know.
You know what you might do? I don't know. Have you gone through the phase 1 training?
Of what?
So I don't know if they're gonna make all the
That's got to be a no, since I don't know what it is.
Okay, well, so there's a faculty training that is more geared towards online instructors, but I think more and more ground instructors are going through it too. Andrea Cook organizes it. And I don't know, they're just wrapping up a session of it. It's a 3-week self-paced course in Blackboard that kind of goes through policies and stuff, but it also lets you get familiar with using the discussion boards and the grade book and stuff like that. So that course will be a good, I think, first step for you. I can give you, well, Andrea's who sent out all the information about these sessions. So if you wanted to get in contact with her and just see if that's something they're going to have you do or that you would like to do the next time they offer.
Yeah. Because I know we're going to have a variety of teaching type things, classroom, teams, all kinds of stuff. So I think knowing it all is probably a good idea.
Okay. Yeah, Andrea Cook would be who you could get in contact to for that. But again, like if you start teaching or you're getting ready to teach and you want to sit down with somebody, I'm located at the Overland Park campus. I'm at home today, but
Oh,
Uh,
thank you, thank you. Our program director's kind of out right now, but we'll be back, and so this will be part of her return questions on her return.
Sure,
Thank you, thank you. Yeah,
you're welcome.
it's good to know that this is available. You know, I don't want to strike out on my own if I don't have to.
Yeah. Well, we won't let you fail.
All right. Any more questions about Ally before we call it? I know April needs to get over to her other session.
I say I'm gonna drop off, I think, but
Yeah,
thank you
I'll
for
see you,
being
I'll see you over there. Thanks, April.
Okay,
Bye.
how do we get to the next course? Is this gonna stop?
This
Yeah, this is
one
gonna
will stop. I put the link in the chat. It's in all caps. It looks like I'm yelling at you all. Turnitin, plagiarism, and AI detection course.
Right.
Or it's in the PDF that has all the session info too.
Yep, yep. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very
See ya.
much.
Thanks,
Yep.
Jason. Thank
All
you.
right.
April.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.